What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. That is Scott Savage. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, dude, we nailed it today. It took us halfway through the week to get there.
Yeah, that was a smooth intro. I like it.
Practice makes perfect. Dude, coming up on today's show, Battlefield 2042 becomes a live service and possibly free to play. Ghost of Tsushima Legends brings on the rivals with the latest game mode, and Nintendo Switch is selling well. Not all that surprised there, are you, Scott?
No, follows the trend.
Yeah, no, absolutely, that's for sure. You guys can always join us live over on twitch.tv/theofficialITG, as well as YouTube. But if you can't join us live, then you should be hitting us up later at InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, you ready to get into this lengthy article about the latest Battlefield news?
Yeah, more Battlefield news is interesting to me. I want to hear what's going on.
I knew it would be. As EA positions Battlefield to be more of an ongoing live service, the publisher is investing in other entry points, Scott. In a post-earnings call with investors covering EA's results for Q1 for fiscal year 2022, the company talked a great deal about Battlefield 2042 and the series in general as it enters into a new era. Asked whether EA will go back to releasing a Battlefield game every other year, CEO Andrew Wilson said that the company's orientation Battlefield releases have not typically followed a set cadence. Some were separated by 2 years, other 3. EA also had the Star Wars Battlefront series, where those games supplemented Battlefield's off years. Which is very true, I guess, as well. Scott, never really thought of that aspect, as they kind of bounce off of each other. It's kind of how you see, who was I just thinking? Oh, it's NetherRealms there with Mortal Kombat 1 year, and then you'll get Injustice the following kind of thing, right? That situation. So,
yeah, that makes sense. And Battlefront is just as equatable as a Battlefield game. It fits right in.
No, absolutely. But Wilson said that the Battlefield 2042 will be different from previous games in that EA views it as a live service and has invested in ways to keep players engaged well after launch. Oh, I just scooted myself way up here. I think this comes from Andrew Wilson. I quote, "I think you should think about Battlefield as a service. What we're doing for the launch of this game is really revolutionizing and reinventing what our epic scale warfare is in context of gameplay. In addition to that, you've heard us announce Battlefield Portal, which really starts to lean into user-generated content and will drive deeper long-term engagement into the game," Wilson said. Scott, thoughts on the Portal aspect when it comes to Battlefield?
Well, I think it's one of the more creative things that they could have done. Yeah. There's not a whole lot left to do other than find other armies, other conflicts, and kind of base off of that.
Sure.
But this takes a step into the imagination, and I like it because it's brand new. And the concept of 1942 versus 2042 either. Yeah. That's cool to me.
No, absolutely. Wilson added that the all-out warfare, together with Portal and the yet-to-be-revealed Hazard Zone, EA hopes players will stick with the game beyond launch. He also said that the view extends to other areas Battlefield has traditionally shunned, such as mobile and free-to-play. There it is, Scott. This isn't the first time EA hinted at the next Battlefield offering some sort of free-to-play mode. Ahead of Battlefield 2042's reveal, EA sent out surveys gauging players' interest in free-to-play, battle passes, and other elements. Quote, "You should understand that this really forms the foundation of what we believe the future of a live service around Battlefield is, which over time will include a mobile launch, will include some free-to-enter components, and really change the nature of what happens from launch to launch. So that while an every other year launch probably makes sense as we think about it today, we're really focused on 365-day engagement in the franchise at a platform level across devices that consumers may want to play on." Battlefield 2042 is coming out on October 22nd, Scott. Pretty much everywhere. PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S. No Stadia.
Oh, I have a sound intrusion again.
Dude,
Uh,
man,
well, that won't be.
you gotta leave the highway, man. You gotta back up and move. Scott, I want to touch on the free to play aspect right there, because I think that's the thing that really grabs a lot of us, right? When we think free to play, the first place we really go to, I think, is Fortnite and Call of Duty. And as of recently, there's a bit of issues going on with Call of Duty, but that's a whole other topic. But
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on Battlefield taking this free to play approach? Is it something like, okay, so we know right now that Battlefield 2042 is coming at a $70 price tag. This is a multiplayer game only, no single player content whatsoever, but it does seem to have a load of modes in there, like Portal's coming, right? Like this other mode that's yet to be revealed, this Hazard Zone, and that sort of thing.
Hazard. I suspect Hazard Zone. I want to say it again. I think that may be the Battle Royale mode, just because
I think you're right.
Unless it's some sort of a horde mode thing, that could fit in with the name Hazard Zone. But I think that's kind of a way of them saying War Zone without just ripping the name off.
Sure.
But the last one I believe was called Ring of Fire.
Yeah.
Or Fire Zone. That one was interesting to me. So if they put it in the game, I'm certainly in. But the free-to-play model is also interesting to me because there is a positive side to it. There's going to be a lot of players in the servers. Not that there was worry, but more hands-on game is always good, and it's going to spike the popularity. But I have a worry that if it's free-to-play, how are they going to make money off of it? Does this mean loot boxes of some sort, battle passes? We know battle pass is a thing, but that would fit into a whole lot of loot box scenario, and I'm not a fan of that particularly.
No, it could. We've seen different battle pass situations unfold over the last few years, right? I think Epic does it really well with Fortnite, but they offer other incentives as well, right? They give you the battle pass, but then they have so many other, they have daily drops, they have other things you can get on and purchase, and other skins and this, that, and the other to entice players to come over and keep their servers alive. And like alive, they keep that thing really well lit up. But when it comes to Battlefield, the skins here could be really dramatic at certain situations. They could go with a themed situation as well. Like you get into the holidays kind of thing with Christmas, and you get into Halloween, right? There presents opportunities. Well, exactly, right? So there are opportunities there. So the battle pass and other elements, I'm definitely curious to see what that entails in the future, which isn't all that far away, coming up on October. So near the end of October, we'll find out more about what's going to happen with this. And the free-to-play model is a unique approach for, I think, Battlefield, when they've already said it's coming out at a price. So you get to jump into certain situations, but at like half the content then, Scott?
Yeah, that's a kind of strange concept to see how they're going to work it out, because will it just be access to certain modes? I can play team deathmatch, but I can't play the traditional conquest.
Sure.
I have a lot of questions as to how this is going to work. But free to play model, does that mean Game Pass? Are they going to do a halfway measure to free to play on Xbox? That'd be quite a statement.
Well, you know what? That raises a good point, because we see EA play real nice with Xbox and the Game Pass, right? Bringing over more titles to that situation. So will they really line up Battlefield 2042 with Game Pass, and then you've got all the Xbox players in there? Man, that would be one heck of a get for Xbox, and one heck of a move, I think, for EA to try to present themselves that way. That would be one free to play. You're paying for a service, right? So I don't think it's really that true free to play as we consider right now with Warzone or with the Fortnite situation. One of those, like, that is a true free to play experience. You just download the game and away you go. That would be an opportunity, though, for EA to go, well, it's on Game Pass, so here's your opportunity to test out the waters, right? Then they get you involved and set up into the Battle Pass and all the other cosmetics that you're going to want to kind of get to have your troops stand out other than others and things like that. I don't know. It's definitely a unique thing to hear coming from what has already been protrude as a purchased title. So,
yeah, it's curious. They would, of course, be taking a large payout to put it on Game Pass, and maybe that's the kind of thing that will afford them floating a year of free content.
Maybe.
And it's, they have deep pockets. It's not necessary.
No, for sure. There's definitely a lot more questions, I guess, then coming out of that, Scott, than we have answers.
Yeah.
But let's get into something that we do have answers for. Ghost of Tsushima Legends is getting a standalone release and a revivals mode. Dude, I am so excited. I can't wait. I love Ghost of Tsushima. Any more content that comes out of this is fantastic. When they released Legends, everybody was shocked, blown away, and I've had a great time. And let's get into some of the details, what's going on now. The online portion of Ghost of Tsushima Legends is getting a standalone release. Along with a standalone release of Ghost of Tsushima Legends, a new Rivals mode will be added to what was once a free game update to the original release. In Legends, you can fight side by side with your friends and are able to play in a 2-player story mission and 4-player survival mission, as well as a raid. Yes, Scott, okay. It has a raid. Man, it's such a wicked game. Legends is a free-to-play content for those who already own the core game, and every update to it will be available at no additional charge to the owners at any version. So if you have it on PS4 or PS5, completely free for updated content. Players, I just touched on that exactly. Now, as far as the Rivals mode is concerned, 2 teams of 2 will be able to compete to defeat waves of enemies. With each defeated foe, you will collect Magatama? I'm going to say that's how that goes. I don't know. I haven't heard of that one before. Not even within the game, Scott, so that was new for me. Which can be used to harm the other team. For example, is Shades one of the concepts here, which you can purchase with the Magatama to block opponents' purchases or to spend it on curses, which drain health and more. So there's different side effects. And then you get one final stand to kind of take over the waves. Dude, this is wicked. I cannot wait to get into this thing. Legends is awesome. It's all free too, Scott. It's free.
Yeah, that's a good move. I like that. This game is a couple years old now, I believe, so that this will definitely spur on people that played it the first time around, like yourself.
Yep.
And this sounds like this multiplayer kind of striking back and forth and playing against NPCs. It reminds me a lot of what Destiny does.
Yep.
That multiplayer mode is really cool. I like that this will be applied to Ghost of Tsushima. That's it's more of a fighting game, so it's going to be a little different, but I think that's cool.
Yeah, it definitely takes off that's instantly where I went to, Sky. I went to the Destiny Gambit mode, right, where you pit one team against the other, and then you can like teleport from one side to the other to mess with the team. But we'll see what happens here. But this is coming on September 3rd. In addition, Scott, there's more, buddy. I'm still not done. On September 3rd, Sucker Punch will release the Gear Mastery System, which is an expansion of the progression system and rewards for Legends. Players who've earned 110 level gear will now be able to bind it to a class and activate mastery challenges. This will allow a piece of gear key level to be upgraded to a 120 and eventually unlock a second perk slot. As you activate mastery challenges, you can also unlock a new ability and new techniques in the class. This starts on August 20th. Which is the release date for Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. This is the newest thing that's coming, and the Director's Cut is also giving us the latest DLC as well, which I can't. Oh man, like dude, I'm just so excited that Ghost of Tsushima is getting more and more content. A lot of it is coming for free. The newest update though is it's there for us all, but if you want to go in and get the standalone version of the Legends mode, it's $20, so that's not bad at all.
Oh, okay, yeah, that lets you get in and play that all over. I like that they're raising the ceiling of the level cap. That's something that's pretty standard for kind of free updates going on down the road. For sure, but I think that's a great idea. It allows you to actually grind towards something instead of just being capped out.
No, absolutely. And finally, Scott, in addition to the above, all that is already coming, Sucker Punch will be adding a new piece of content each week from September 10th through October 1st. The content will include additional Rivals map, new survival maps inspired by the Iki Island and Io's Realm, and the Trials of Io, a new harder difficulty version of the last year's raid as well. Man, there's so much content coming down the line. I can't believe it, man. I am shocked. I'm so excited. It's been, I'd probably say a few months now since I've been in the world of Ghost of Tsushima, and this has me instantly wanting to jump right back in. So when the minute this drops on the 20th, which is not that far away, Scott,
no,
I'm back, buddy.
Well, there's a lot of interest in Ghost of Tsushima, and to see that they're supporting that very well is definitely encouraging. I think the sequel is all but assured at this point.
Absolutely. Well, they're already working on, is it a movie that they're working on or a television series? One or the other. I want to say it's a movie that Sony has kind of started putting out there into the interwebs. Dude, when are we getting the Uncharted movie?
Oh yeah, that's been talked about for a while now. And I thought some of it had been filmed.
Well, so I think it's almost done, if not just about wrapped up. And okay, you're not the biggest Uncharted fan. I'll give you that, right? I am a big Uncharted fan, but my expectations are not very high. I'm gonna be honest, right? Like I've heard things, and I'm a little skeptical on how this is gonna turn out, Scott. We see a lot of video games make their way over to movies, and they just don't pan out sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is really important property for Sony, though, so I'm hoping that includes a certain amount of effects after work and a good amount of explosions.
We'll see what happens, but there's a lot more content coming in the world from Sucker Punch, which is great to see. Ghost of Tsushima is not going anywhere. Definitely look for a sequel sometime, but in the meantime, you can get all kinds of content coming for free if you have the base game, right?
Here I am hoping for the director's cut to make its way to PC. That'd be very nice.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised, right? That we just talked about who they partnered with not too long ago, Nexus. I want to say it was, right? Who's looking to port over their PlayStation titles to world PC. Dude, this could be in the realm of happening for you over on Steam and other places where you can play your PC games that are from PlayStation. So look forward to that, I'm sure. But Scott, let's get into what Nintendo is up to. Nintendo Switch posts strong Q1 results, but sales and profit falls. Switch console sales hit only 89 million worldwide.
Oh man, only 89 million though. Let's think about that.
I know. Oh, that's rough.
Is that almost triple the population of our nation?
No, it's nuts. Nintendo has posted strong Q1 numbers for the first quarter of its financial year, but sales and profit dropped compared to the same period the year before. Scott, you know why it dropped?
Oh, it's really, does it just because I thought it was because everybody had a Switch, but
it's because of COVID. Let's get into it. The company posted net sales $2.94 billion. $2.94 billion, Scott. For the
billion with a B.
For the 3 months ending June 30th, which is a drop of nearly 10% over the same period the year before. Net profit fell to 846 million, which is a drop of almost 13%. The reason for the decline is due to the exceptional first quarter of 2020 for Nintendo, which boosted by worldwide lockdowns caused by COVID-19 and the huge success of Animal Crossing New Horizons.
I knew that was a factor, definitely.
Dude, we were going we were going into lockdown, getting told to stay home, and yet EB Games is there with their doors open so people could come and buy their Animal Crossing. Right? Like oh man, I remember that. And I remember the government not being very happy, but it's shipped 10.6 million copies during that period. And this is why the difference is what's going on now is that everybody now is coming out of COVID, right? We're all starting to head back to work, and Nintendo doesn't have that Animal Crossing right now, Scott.
Yeah, now they need to follow it up with another big hit.
What do they have, Scott? What do you think they have? Anything lined up for this fall that's really going to punch through like this?
There's a few things that they could pull out from the past.
Sure.
F-Zero being one.
Ooh, man.
There's a lot of different kind of, they talk about how Mario Kart is very popular, but we haven't seen a double dash in over 10 years now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Coming up on 20. So there's a lot of anniversaries that I think are hitting shortly within the next few years. Yeah. And that would be a great opportunity to bring out an old property, and that would spike interest again.
No, for sure. They said overall 89.04 million Nintendo Switch consoles have been shipped worldwide since the console launch. Nintendo expects to ship a further 20.5 million consoles between now and the end of March.
Holy, that's that's shooting pretty high, I think.
I think it is, considering they're getting, and Nintendo now is coming out with the OLED Switch, which I think for a lot of us isn't really the boost we're looking for. Yeah, it's gonna be a prettier screen, but I think a lot of us were looking for the horsepower to be really upgraded to the fact where it can be comparable to the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X, not even the Series X or the PS5, right? Just to kind of
they were
boost up
kind
a
of
bit.
a half step behind already in the last generation. But I don't know what it requires, but if it just needs more RAM on board or something, because I get a lot of stuttering, a lot of dropped frame rate and that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And of course, if an OLED helps with that, it looks nicer, that's fine. But if it's still skipping frames, I mean, what's the point?
Well, it's still underpowered, right? And I think that's the biggest problem, is that the power there is lacking, and that's where it's hurting the Switch. But yeah, they're going to ship another 20 million units. That's fantastic. They're shipping. That's not sold through, right? That's just shipping out to places for purchase, not people actually buying the console. So that's the difference.
It sounds like they do not really consider the Steam Deck to replace them or take all those sales.
No.
They seem very confident despite it.
No, absolutely. I think the Steam Deck is a unique item for those who are already on PC, but if you're in the realm and family of Nintendo, then you're in for Nintendo properties, right? And that's the biggest selling feature for Nintendo, is that they have the IP to back up their library of games and the Switch itself. I think that's the biggest selling feature right there.
Oh yeah, because they have all the exclusives that are not shared between the other two consoles, and Nintendo has such a brand power and its own kind of corner of the market. I don't think it'll ever go anywhere.
No, absolutely. Scott, what do you think, buddy? Should we get into what game announcements and releases and updates and things are happening today? Because there's not really that much.
No, there's not a terribly large amount. We're in the middle of a lull, but I think we're between one hot month of releases and another. But
oh yeah, I think September is gonna be a hot one, dude. This list is gonna like explode come next month.
Oh yeah, no, it was an exciting time just a few months ago, and I'm looking forward to this again. But we have a grand total of 3 releases. That's better than some days. So we have the Falconeer Warrior Edition, and that is coming to PS4, PS5, and Switch. And in addition to the Falconeer Warrior Edition, we also have the Falconeer Edge of the World DLC. Now that is available on the Xbox One, the Series S and X, and the PC. That's interesting to see. A lot of support for Falconeer.
That is cool. It's almost made by like practically one guy, which I think is the coolest aspect behind the game. Corey and I checked out the game over on Xbox Game Pass and reviewed it for the show. It's a very cool game, very unique. We found it was just a little lackluster. I'm kind of curious now with the Edge of the World DLC if it kind of boosts up some of that content a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like a Crimson Skies, but lacking that aesthetic.
Oh, give me that Crimson Skies back, buddy.
Yeah, if Nintendo releases that on Switch, I mean, that might spike some. I think this might be Xbox locked,
it's an Xbox thing, yeah.
Well, Xbox, come on out with it then. But lastly, for releases, we have Starmancer on PC.
And that is it, dude. Scott, that's a light list, but that's what we said. Look for next month to absolutely explode. I know we talk about a lot of games, and we see a lot of releases now getting lined up for September. Hopefully some of those games, dude, will actually get pushed out of September and give us some breathing room, because there's a lot going on for next month. But dude, that's gonna wrap up today's show. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. Don't forget to join us live over on twitch.tv/theofficial ITG, as well as YouTube. But if you can't join us live, that means you need to go check us out later at InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, TV streaming networks around the globe. I'm Drew, that's Scott, and we'll see you everybody tomorrow inside the game.